Okay, everybody, here we go. It is July 20th, Saturday morning, heading to class again. We have one more class after this. And then it is off to working on it in my brother's shop. So we're going to have to see what we get done. My brother is actually going to teach the class today because he is substituting for my son, who just Thursday night had a little baby girl. So I got another addition to my family now. I am Papa twice over now. Cute little thing. Mom and baby are healthy, which is good. Went up and seen her last night at the hospital. So I'm kind of a proud papa right now. So here we go. I am going to do like normal. Shut you guys off. Get everything in the building. Get everything situated. And then turn the cameras back on. Start going at it. See how much I get done. Plan on stopping every so often and showing you guys where I'm at on it. Talk a little bit. Try and change things up here a little bit. Get you guys a little bit more involved rather than just me talking in the beginning. Time lapsing all the way through it. And then talking at the end. We're going to try and talk a little bit during. It's kind of hard to hear and everything with all the background noise of everybody working on their cars. But that's just the way it is in a shop. If you work on your own car in a shop, you understand the background noise. So with that, I'm going to shut the camera off. We'll see you when I get everything situated. Okay, everybody. I figured we'd get a look at things before I get going here. So I got this piece made. Got all this made up in here. So I was going to get this stuff seam sealed and everything, but I think talked with my brother, and we're going to wait until we get this over to his place. And we're going to use his small sand blaster and kind of blast up in here, get that all cleaned up before I go ahead and get all this seam sealed. So I think what I'm going to work on today is I'm going to work on trying to get this here all buttoned up. And then if I'm able to get this all done, which would be nice if I would, I'm going to come back here and try and get this mess here all figured out. So with that, I'm going to get back to work here and we'll do a little bit of time lapse and maybe talk about it again after a bit. So here we go. So this stuff here I'm using as kind of template paper. It all this is like craft paper, real thin cardboard almost. Like, I know you guys have seen me using it, making patterns and stuff. Comes in really handy for when you got to make pieces, but you're not wasting metal. All you're doing is wasting paper. Comes in real handy. See, that's roughly where I need to be, but I cut longer. That way I can put this in there and then try and bend this around a little bit, get a better idea of how this needs to be. There's got to be a body line in here somewhere. So, once again, kind of along the lines of better to measure twice, cut once. But this time here, with this, we're going to be cutting more than once, hopefully not too much. The big thing is at this point, don't cut anything off. Just make your mark, make your slices, bend things around. You don't want to cut anything completely off until you make sure this fits, because if you cut everything completely off, then you're gonna be trying to put shit back on if it don't fit right. So just cut, bend things around, make sure it fits, then cut everything off that you don't need. Let's go take a look at this. So, there's the piece that I made out of the paper. To me, it looks like it's going to fit really good. So, this is what I mean about using some kind of paper. Like I said, I like using this heavier craft paper because it holds a lot better than just regular paper. It's just, you know, thicker. Here I am rambling again, but oh well. So, now you see how many times I had to go back and forth to make this piece. Now, imagine if I was just doing it out of metal. I probably would have went through, God, I don't know how many pieces of metal. Now, I'm not saying that once I transfer this over to metal and cut it out, I'm not saying that I'm not going to have to do some kind of trimming yet to make it work. But at least what I have, I should only have to use one piece of metal rather than multiples. Now, this looks a little goofy right here, but what I got to do is I got to make this piece right here with this lip and everything next. So I'm going to cut with this line and that, and then I'll make this piece because there'll more than likely be metal that I got to cut off of here. So I made it long, like I said, so that once I make this, I can scribe a line on the metal and cut it. So now I'm going to go ahead and get this cut, bring the metal back over here, get it set up in here where it needs to be, then figure this out. So here we go. Let's check that out. how that fits. I think that turned out pretty good. So now I'll figure out how to get this lip. I'm going to look through my scrap stuff I cut off of here and see if I have anything that I can make work so I ain't got to bend it. More than likely I'm going to have to bend it, but just wanted to show you guys how that turned out. See, all them back and forth with the paper, I only had to do that once. So I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. So now we'll get this lip figured out, and then we'll take another look. Kind of a pain because I ain't going to be able to make it out of paper before the metal because the paper won't hold the curves and everything that I need for it. This might be where I waste a little bit of metal. We'll see how lucky I get. Okay, I don't know how much we lost here, but I wasn't paying attention to my camera enough, and I ran out of space on it because I didn't delete from last Saturday's class. So now I need to get focused here again. So let's see here. This right here is the piece that I just got done with not too long ago. This piece here is what I've been building. I'm hoping that I didn't lose too much footage. We'll see. So, as I was saying, hopefully it's on there. This right here was more straightened out and everything, so I had to try and figure out a way to get the curve into it that I needed. So, not having all the tools that it takes to do some of this stuff, what I did, and hopefully, like I said, I didn't lose too much footage, but I was sitting there thinking, what do I have here that I can make work to get that curved a little bit? Well, lo and behold, got a piece of copper pipe. Now, that copper pipe, damn it, trying to do things one-handed is kind of a pain. Fits in there pretty good. So it gave me pretty close to the curve that I needed. Now I just use my hammer to beat things around a little bit. So this piece here is what goes right here. So sits down in there on the rocker. Fits up here. We're going to try and get this piece here to fit a little bit better. Once I start spot welding it in. But what we got to do is I'm going to try and get some self-tappers to self-tap into things to hold this stuff in where it is. And then I got to screw the quarter panel on so that I can see if this part needs to be moved in some more or exactly how it's got to fit before I can start spot welding things in. I also have to build the piece that goes back in here from the top of the quarter or top of the rocker here down to this spot, and then that piece will get welded to this piece. This piece will get welded to this piece after I do a little bit of cutting here so that everything can weld together good there. But right now that's where I'm going to put a self tapper to hold this in place to put the quarter on to make sure this is all going to work. Kind of upset that I didn't pay enough attention. I didn't take off last Saturday's class. Didn't delete it off, so I ran out of storage. Hey, that's what happens. So I'm going to get back at it here because I want to get this taken care of so that I can move on to this. So I can move on to this piece right here. I just wanted to kind of fill you guys in on where I'm at on it now. So I am going to put my earbuds back in so I can listen to some music and carry on. I just wanted to fill you guys in on how I was getting things formed and kind of rednecking some of it. But like I said, when you ain't got the tools to do it, you got to make things work. So here we go. Okay, we're gonna look at something else here. So, you seen me with the cutting wheel back here. Oh, let's get in here to work. I had to slot. See if I could get the light back in here. Sorry if I'm blinding you guys. Okay. So I had to slot that piece. This piece right here. I had to make this slot in it deeper than what I had it to begin with, because see, the quarter slides up in there. Now more than likely that's going to be cut off anyway, but just so I can make sure things fit. Now if you look, Jesus Christ, not enough hands. The struggles are real. Now you see that gap. You see that gap right here. This part is the outer wheelhouse. This part is the quarter. The outer wheelhouse needs to be closer to the quarter panel. I bet you there's probably a 1/2 inch gap there. We look pretty good down here. So what I'm going to have to do is wind up cutting, and I'll show you that here when I get the quarter off. I'll show you where I'm going to cut. Pretty much the same way I had to do on the other side. But I don't want to do any of that until I get everything here welded in. Then I can go ahead and do some slicing and dicing and all that. So we're going to put you back over here on the stand so I can quit shaking you and making some of you motion sick. winding down for the day. Let's take a look at things here. So, got that all welded together. I got this piece back in here kind of spot welded in. Got to do a little bit of finishing up on that, but that'll have to come next Saturday. It all fits pretty good there. So, yeah. It's into class today, so we'll see what we get done next week.